So there has been a mini discussion about animal totems, and I just wanted you to talk about a different facet of animal totems, which are national animal totems. So for example, in the United States, we know that the eagle is the national animal totem, and simply because throughout the United States you find a lot of that animal. And Native Americans also talk a lot about them. So the totem, the animal totem, reflects something about the culture. And despite colonization and everything that's been happening, that we can talk about it and all that stuff, countries have national totem that are still related to a connection to the actual environment within the country, to the actual energy within the country. And I'll take you to Cameroon to talk about the national totem of Cameroon, which is the lion, and not just the lion, but the undomptable lion, the lion that you cannot tame. Okay, so I think it's an interesting totem because the lion is considered to be the king of the jungle, the animal who is on top of the food chain, the animal who is responsible to maintain biodiversity and to maintain the chain and the balance in the forest or in the jungle. If you study lions, you will learn that lions are not killing anyhow and they're not eating every day. So I encourage you to kind of research what is your national animal totem and study that animal. Look at that animal. Many people are just I think staying on the surface because they're going to be saying, oh, the lion may be aggressive, maybe this and maybe that, but I invite you to just study and observe how this animal was. There's so many documentaries nowadays of just lion being observed. I'm not talking about so much about the commentary and what people are getting out of that. I just want you to observe what is going on. Even if you can mute the volume and just observe. When are they going to hunt? Why are they going to hunt? How much are they hunting? How much are they eating? How often are they hunting? How are they living alone or within groups or communities? How are they taking care of their children, of their offsprings? Look at all of that. What else are they eating? How are they healing themselves? And I think when you look at all those different facets, you start getting ideas and you start being inspired and you start seeing the characters and the energy that you as a national of that country can tap into. That's what it is all about when I'm talking about African animal, that national totem, is that each national individual can actually tap into that energy. Tap into being the king of the jungle when you need it, being a leader. Which means having a lot of responsibility, being accountable to others, and maintaining balance. Like I mentioned, the lion, even though he has a capacity to run very fast, to be very aggressive, he's not killing every single animal. There are specific times where he needs to kill to eat, and he's not going to kill everybody. And even by his own killing in order to eat and feasting, after that is feeding a lot more other animals on the same chain. So I think it's important to take that in consideration, to look at how biodiversity, how is nature organized. The lion doesn't need to be taught how to be a lion. The lion doesn't need to be taught how to live and how to live it, what to be doing, how to be pregnant, how to birth their children, how to take care of them. It's intuitive, it's innate, it's already within them. They already have that inner knowledge, that inner wisdom about themselves. And of course, when you start meeting lions or in zoo, they start having different behaviors because of the environment that they're in. Even sometimes, the national park, depending on how huge it is and how much space they do have, those are not the natural environment that they were in because now they're restricted. But it's still a lot closer than the lion that's in a zoo, that's in a cage or that's being used at a circus or places like that. Okay, in captivity. So when you look at the lion, as I mentioned, it's an animal that's really smart. It's an animal that also likes to live in community, likes to be around other like-minded individuals. And I think we also have that within our own particular national band. And that's what I'm not saying, that it's not just the people who have this national animal totem that are blessed with all of this. No, it is just more that you may see more and more those type of characteristics around people who do live in that type of environment, and it's a little bit easier for them to tap into that. But it's not an absolute. Meaning that's why sometimes people change countries. That's why sometimes people change nationalities. People join to different other group where they feel that it resonates more with their path, where they feel being called to do. So always take this thing in relative. You really always have to think about, does that apply to you? Can that apply to somebody else? And not be bothered by the fact that it doesn't apply to you, but someone else finds it very appealing or very useful. That's okay. Now, in terms of the animal totem, the other side, okay, there's this good side about, you know, the having the aspect of leadership, the aspect of, you know, being able to maintain balance, to restore balance also sometimes, to be able to provider of justice, because if you're the ruler, the leader, you know, people are going to turn to you and look at you for justice and for that balance element. But there's another side of it, there's a reverse side of it, because the lion is also very seen as very strong, forceful, and sometimes very aggressive. And that you can also see that in the people, that kind of aggressiveness in relationships sometimes, aggressiveness in business mode. It is always for the individual who are within national or country that has this kind of totem to always have to balance those energies within themselves. So when you're calling onto that energy, or when you're embodying that energy, it is really a matter of also of being able to say, okay, I am being too aggressive, I need to step back. Or, you know, I am a leader, I need to be responsible and I need to be accountable for that. And I'm not talking about politics here, I'm really talking at the individual level. And a lot of what we've seen now is a lot of people being scared or shying away from their own responsibility. And that will be the subject of another video. But it's really, you cannot have one without the other. You cannot want to be the leader without having also being accountable for it. You see, so I think it is important when you live in a country that have such an animal totem that you are just aware of that energy. You know, sometimes we'll say, there's something I said that a lot of time that, you know, Cameroonian women are lionesses. They are like fired up. They have that little hunch where, you know, they will fight for their country. They will fight for what they believe in. They will not let people step on their toes. I see that's exactly the type of fire I'm talking about when you have that little aggressivity. Remember also that the lion is also the Leo when you look at the zodiac signs. So it's a lot of fire, it's a lot of we can do, it's a lot of, you know, energies also being really dynamic. And you can find that, you know, in terms of like what are Cameroonian associated with. You know, in terms of like the energy of the Leo, the energy of power, the energy of representing leadership, of, you know, of being, you know, front stancer on the stage, of being the light of the party. Oftentimes they will say, you know, when you're hanging out with Cameroonians, you're always gonna have fun. You know, you have a lot of video of people saying like, you know, when they, the Cameroon friends or the people who are really entertaining them, really keeping them alive, really bringing them joy and all that stuff, which is good, so long as it is contained, that it doesn't overflow it all over the place, that is not, you know, overindulgent and all that stuff, because then we fall into the lack of accountability, the lack of responsibility, and that can be leading very negative path, especially when the indulgence becomes an addiction. Okay, so that means the person has to be careful about these different things. And I think it's interesting to look at the different characteristics, these different aspects, these different energies, and to see how it actually impacts the people. I think, you know, there's a lot to say about, you know, the national team being the Undomptable Lions. And I think part of that is because when you look at other countries, for example, next to us we have Congo. Congo is, well known to call themselves the people who dumped leopards. And so for us to be like, we don't dump the lion, because for us the lions are untamable, okay, but we are merging with them, we use the energy, we are really fusing. It's more of a collaboration with nature. We're not dominating nature, but we are fusing and merging and collaborating with it. We become one in nature, we take our place, we integrate nature, and we are within it. And in that sense we are better able to tap into the characteristics. We are better able to merge and communicate with that, and to even make that national totem be a personal totem. And I think there's a movement now of people going back and searching now for those totems and the relationship that they have with different animals, to assess where it is in their family, how many they do have, all those different things. I think it's a wonderful time to do that. This is the edge of the information. You should be looking into who you are. And if that is part of your roots, you should be figuring it out. Because after the age of information, something else is going to come up. So the window of opportunity, the window of knowledge and wisdom is now that you have to seek for that information, so that information can start seeking you, and you can know and have the answers that you want. And for those of you who are already aware, you know, you can start thinking about how in your daily life you are actually embodying that energy of the lions or the lioness. You know, the lioness is really the counterpart to the lion. Even though the lion is called the ruler, the king of the jungle, we know that the lioness goes to hunt. She's the one bringing the meat home sometimes, and she has a lion in the back. So it's really something about collaboration, something about coming together, lion and lioness, being together and being able to bring offsprings, to feed the community, and to have that leadership in the animal kingdom. So I invite you to just see how that energy is being infused in your life. What are the areas where you may be too aggressive or not being leader-like? What are the areas where you can improve? What are the areas that you can really actually make that contribution as a leader that you are, the born leader that you are? And of course, we can go deeper and then start looking into, you know, what is your, the different ethnic group that you come from and what are their totem? What is your family totem? And start researching this information. But this is a prelude to something that I'm working on that's really close to my heart in terms of being able to assist you in merging those different energies, in understanding that, you know, you need to have a balance within in order to be able to do a lot of the other things successfully, not to be too indulgent in this, but to know your limits. You know, sometimes you can indulge a lot on other things because your limit is much wider than other people. But you have to know where it stands in order to know yourself that the limit is a lot larger. Okay? So I hope this was very informative, and of course you can give me a message or let me know down below if you research the animal totem of your particular country. Sometimes you can find it in your flag, you can find it in your national anthem, you can find it in your banner, you can find it in the history of your country. You know, share it if you have another totem that is not the lion, and you can tell me which country it is and what kind of totem did you have, and maybe you've never thought about it, maybe you did have, or you are going to think about how that totem has an impact on you, whether you see this energy apply in your life, or whether maybe it's not even having any type of impact whatsoever. So let it know in the comments, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.